Hey folks, welcome back to another What's in There video. Today we're going to be taking a look at another expansion for village attacks. This one is called Doom and Suffering. I think the person who was naming these was having a bad day or days because, well, these are not very encouraging titles for their expansions. But anyway, basically what we're going to do here in this video is we're going to show you everything that comes in this box in some level of detail so that you have a better idea of what's coming in it so that you can make a better purchase decision later on down the road. So let's get down to the table and take a look. And so as we're diving into the Doom and Suffering expansion for village attacks, we see that it's going to come with these different models. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These two hounds go with this guy over here. So we'll be looking at those a little bit more later on. You're also going to be getting 6 monster ability tiles, 2 heroes that you can add to your collection, and of course 2 more of the monsters that players can take on the aspect of. You have the Woad of the Wild Hunt. He's a mythic guy. Looks very Norse, I guess you could say, Viking-ish. Then you have the Jack of the Lantern. So you have this guy here. It looks pretty nasty. So let's take a closer look at both of them. So the Woad of the Wild Hunt is going to be this new mythic creature here. He has hounds that are at his disposal at the very beginning. It says spawn a hound, only 1 in play at any time. Hounds have 1 health, can move 3 zones unhindered, and deal 1 damage. Villagers slain by the hound award you experience. So you have these hounds that can go away and possibly kill more dudes. Then you can upgrade that, and says that you can have 2 in play at this point, and they still move 3 zones and they do 1 damage as normal, but you get both of them in play if you upgrade that hound ability. Then you have Quarry. It says your first regular or ranged attack gains +1 range. Oh, so that's pretty cool. You do have to use the defense dice in order to do that, though. Then you can, this says your first 2 regular or ranged attacks gain +1 range. All right, so that's pretty cool. Then you have Thrill of the Hunt. You are number 1 in the villager targeting priority. Okay, so that means everybody's going to come after you. So that's you have to use a ranged die to do that. Here it says you are number 1 in the villager targeting priority, and peasants move towards you as if you were the castle heart. Well, that's interesting because you can pull people away from the castle heart while, all right, so that's cool. That provides some strategic possibilities there. That's interesting. The model, of course, as I said earlier, he looks very Norse-like, very Viking-y. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some definite rune work on his axe here. Then, of course, he has the, unfortunately, stereotypical horns on his helmet and so forth. So there you have it. But this is pretty cool miniature. Wondered at first, the snout on these dogs is a little strange. It looks like they could be pigs at one point because of the hair back here and everything, and the way the snout is kind of short. But I don't know, they look good nonetheless. But I thought that they possibly could be boars or something like that when I first pulled them out. But hey, they're hounds. And then we have Jack of the Lantern here. He is a wanderer. So when the first villager spawn of the round is resolved, remove 1 damage from your dashboard, and you may immediately move 1 zone unhindered. Well, that's pretty cool. You can upgrade that. It says when it happens for the first time, remove 1 damage, and you can move 2 zones unhindered. So that's cool. Over here you have Spite. That's cheerful. It says take 1 damage and deal 2 damage. That definitely sounds spiteful. You have to use a retaliate in order to do that. You turn it over and you still have to use the retaliate, but you take 1 damage and deal 2. All right. Ah, that's what's different. Okay, so you have a 0 range. Here it's melee only, but here you can do 0 to 1 range if you upgrade it. All right, sometimes you got to search for those differences. Okay, so here is a 0 to 3 range soul lantern. You have to use a magic die in order to do this. It says move up to 2 peasants in your zone into any other zone containing at least 1 peasant. Wow, that can be very far away. Possibly. So if you flip it over here, 0 to 3 range is the same, but you can move up to 2 peasants in any, or hunters. There's the difference, peasants or hunters into any other zone containing at least 1 villager, hunter, or peasant. So that's cool as well. Still have to use that magic die in order to do that. So that's pretty neat. The Jack of the Lantern here is a very wistful. This is isn't smoke or anything like that. That is his hair. Presumably beard and head hair, because there's a lot of it. So there you have it. Pretty nasty looking creature there, for the most part. And definitely wouldn't want to meet him anywhere late at night or at any time throughout the day. And then finally, the last 2 things that come in the box are these 2 new heroes that can be added to your game. You have the Druid and the Paladin. The Druid here has 5 health, can move 1, scores 2 damage at a 0 to 2 range. That's pretty nasty. Then it has Nature's Blessing, immune to all damage from mythic monsters, attacks, and abilities. So this is going to go head to head with that Woad of the Wild Hunt. Pretty nasty indeed. And the miniature here is pretty cool as well. She is the robes and everything. I guess it's going to be pretty nature-esque looking. But I like the action that's involved here. It's not a static pose at all, so I love it when models are like that. There's just a lot of action that's there, a lot of movement. We have the Paladin over here who has a whopping 8 health, can move 1, and has a special ability for damage. I guess we'll find that out here, and has a range of 0, so it's melee only for him. Righteous Fury. At the start of each villager phase, place an experience token here. The Paladin's damage is equal to the tokens placed here. Whoa! So the more tokens that get placed in his area, the more damage that gets done by his attacks. So he's pretty nasty. And we saw a lot of movement in the Druids. There's not a whole lot of movement here, except for possibly a wind gust of some kind blowing his little whatever those things are around. But good detail on the model at the very least. Wish it would have had a little bit more movement, but there you have it. So that's about that for Doom and Suffering. It makes me chuckle every time because, yeah, just not 2 words that you usually say with a smile on your face, right? But anyway, Doom and Suffering, again, just like with other expansions that these guys have come out with for village attacks, just giving you more to play with, more stuff to use that's going to change just slightly how the game plays each and every time, because you're going to have different abilities, different powers. Your heroes, your town heroes are going to be a little bit stronger or maybe a little bit weaker, but do this special thing over here. So I like it when games do that. They give you the opportunity to prolong the life of the game without changing anything within it, so that you don't have to learn a new mechanism or a new process or anything like that. So that's pretty much what these do, and hopefully now you feel a little bit more informed to make a better decision on whether or not you're going to add this to your Village Attacks collection. And so with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care now.